starring Chuck Connors.
How's it feel to be home, son?
Kinda good. Longest we've been away. 3 weeks.
Well, that's one vacation we're entitled to. Won't be another stock show in these parts like that for a long time.
Mr. McCain, I take it. And that would be the young McCain I've heard so much about? Well, quite a big boy.
Well, I know we haven't met, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry. Judson. Ben Judson is my name.
Oh, Mr. Judson. I see you're wearing the Norfolk Marshal's badge. Mike out of town on business?
No, he's still in town, I believe. Took the last of his personal belongings from the office less than an hour ago.
Micah moved?
Well, yes. I defeated him in the election for town marshal.
Defeated him?
You hadn't heard?
No, I hadn't heard.
But Mike has been town marshal for 5 years.
Evidently, the town felt it was time for a change. Oh, you'll check that rifle with me while you're in town, Mr.
Check the rifle.
Yes, I've invoked the ordinance related to the carrying of firearms while in town.
Oh, Mr. Judson, that ordinance was meant to be used when trail hands came into town, and they're celebrating it out of hand. I don't see any trouble around.
Enforcing that ordinance is at the discretion of the marshal, Mr. McCain. Your rifle, please.
The rifle stays with me.
You in the habit of disobeying the law, Mr. McCain?
Are you the law, Mr. Judson?
In this instance, I am.
Come on, son.
Yeah, that's just about it, Lucas. Like you and Mark, a lot of folks were away at the stock show. Weren't here to vote. Folks here in town, they didn't seem to care about the election. Kind of figured Mike could win hands down.
But whoever heard of Mr. Judson? I mean, I've never seen him around before.
Came into town a couple of weeks ago. First I noticed him, he was in the saloon buying drinks for all the boys. Up and down the street, talking to all the ladies. Letting everybody know he was running for marshal.
He's got a smooth way about him, all right. Well, come on, son. We better go over and pay a call on Micah. See you, Nils.
Micah. Well, Lucas, boy. You're back just in time to bury the body.
Mike, if I knew you weren't going to be supported in the election, Mark and I would have postponed our trip.
Oh, that's all right. It's about time I retired anyway. Now I'll be able to do some shooting and some fishing. I'll be able to... You know, Lucas, I didn't even bother the campaign this time. Didn't even bother to let folks know I was happy being a marshal.
I'm sorry, Micah. Real sorry.
Well, that's all right, Mark. It's all right. I'm sorry you caught me without a shave. I've been sleeping most of the day, and...
Micah, what about this Judson checking everybody's guns so quickly?
He posted that notice this morning, then went around personally collecting. He even took my gun. You know, Lucas, I've been dealing with men for a long time, and I kind of got a nose for knowing when a man is saying one thing and thinking another.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I wasn't with Judson 2 minutes before I had the feeling that smooth front of his was rehearsed.
When they pinned that badge on him, I could feel my temper going up and up. Oh, not because I lost the election, but because I saw a man wearing a badge who maybe shouldn't be. You know, with me, a badge is a more or less sacred thing. When I see it on a man and it don't belong on him, it's like waving a red flag in front of me.
Micah, come here. Judson's got himself a visitor.
Bob Barrett.
Badge looks good on you, Marshal. Real good.
Just try to hold down that perverted sense of humor of yours when Torrance comes in here to face you with charges. Gun.
Judson, North Fork has a wanted poster from this man, dead or alive.
Yes. Yes, so Mr. Barrett was just telling me. But he's placed himself in my custody, Mr. McCain. He's asked for an immediate hearing in the hope that the charges against him might be dismissed as unfounded.
Unfounded?
Micah Torrance himself was a witness that this man and his partner held up the noonday stage 5 months ago and killed the driver and the shotgun rider. Now, what more do you want?
Well, like I was telling the marshal here, I can understand the mistake. Seeing as my brother and I were like two peas in a pod, as the saying goes. So when I heard about North Fork wanting me, Bob Barrett instead of Harry Barrett, I decided to come in and settle the problem.
Bob Barrett, Harry Barrett. Didn't your brother die in Tucson about a month ago?
Yeah, it was a very sad day. We were very close.
Yeah, close as thieves, probably. Now, look, Barrett. You can't get away with it. You can't throw the guilt on a dead man.
There's no mistaking you for your brother.
McCain, please. Wild accusations, gentlemen. I'm going to get his notepads. Now, as I understand it, the procedure here in North Fork has been to hold a preliminary hearing in the marshal's office with the marshal officiating before you ask the circuit judge to come and hold a trial. Is that correct?
We don't bother Judge Evans until we're sure of our ground.
Well, exactly. Well, why don't we proceed without any delay? We have the accused here. So, Mr. Torrance, Mr. McCain, if you'd care to be seated.
I don't think this'll take but a few minutes. I'll stand.
Barrett was identified. There's no question he should be held for trial, and you know it.
Mr. McCain, every man deserves some measure of justice. Barrett, your defense, then, is that this is simply a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah, that's right. I was 100 miles away in Santa Fe when that stage was robbed.
That's a bald-faced lie.
Mr. Torrance, please. Any comments are to be addressed to the official conducting the hearing. Now, you were a passenger on that stage, right?
I was.
Now, would I be wrong in assuming that both of those hold-up men wore masks?
They were masked at first, yes, but after the shooting stopped and I was on the ground looking like I was dead, Barrett here, he figured he could pull his mask down, that it'd be safe, and that's when I got a good look at him.
And you got a good look at him.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to how you accomplished that. You were wounded, lying sprawled face down on the road. But just how?
When I got a chance, I opened my eyes and sneaked a look at him, and it's true I was lying face down, but how did you know that?
If you'd been lying face up, the sun would have been burning right down at you and blinding you.
Now, look, Judson. This hearing was to establish whether or not there was reasonable cause to hold this man for the circuit judge. Micah Torrance was a witness to the killing. That should be enough.
Not with that kind of an identification, McCain. I just don't see it. I'm declaring Bob Barrett not a wanted man. He's free to come and go as he pleases.
Listen, I don't know who you are, where you come from. But we'll see what the circuit judge has to say about this. And if I know Judge Evans, Barrett's going to have to prove he was somewhere else during that holdup. And you can keep that smile on your face, Barrett. You'll need it for a jury in a few days.
Judson, I've always had a respect for the law, but the sight of that badge on you sickens me. If I was 20 years younger, I'd rip it off you, and the devil take the consequences.
Micah, did you hear that slip of the tongue he made about you lying face down? You know, I'm beginning to wonder if they don't have a common cause.
Yeah, all this could be prearranged.
I'm going to get a wire off to Judge Evans. When he gets here, he'll have Barrett behind the bars in 3 minutes. Come on.
Sure.
They're headed for that telegraph office. They're gonna wire that judge.
Well, a trial is the last thing in the world we want. Torrance testifies against you. Judge Evans will get you twisted up in your own lies. He'll have you on a scaffold within 48 hours.
Well, I thought you told me old man Torrance would drink himself
I
into
expected
disgrace.
it. Can't you see McCain's keeping him on his feet?
Hey, I got an idea. Maybe you could be my witness. Say you saw me up in Santa Fe during the time of that holdup.
I can't place myself in Santa Fe at that time any more than you can.
That's right. Because you was busy putting a bullet in that driver's head. Same time I was blowing a hole in that shotgun rider.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, the easiest way out of this for you to get on your horse and ride north for a while.
Oh, I'm not going anyplace. Now, I want someplace to go where I can come and go like I want to, like you do. Now, what happens to me happens to you. Don't you forget that.
Well, Torrance is the only witness against you. Just get him out of the way, Judge Evans' hands will be tied.
That's right. I tell you, I'll go to old man Torrance and I'll get him riled up, you know? Then we'll scuffle around and he'll get him shot up.
No wonder to me you haven't been hanged before this.
You gonna make me a deputy?
Yeah. Figure when Torrance sees this badge on you, he'll blow sky high, and then you can start riling him. And you rile him any way you want, just you make sure he does the challenging. You make sure we have witnesses that you were provoked into handling that gun.
Well, don't you worry about it. Well, I'll rile him all right. 'Cause when it comes to antagonizing somebody, I guess I take top honors.
Door's open.
Pa's waiting for a return wire from Judge Evans, Micah.
That's good, Mark. Judge Evans will set things straight. You know, we got Barrett dead to rights. We got... You know, Mark, I suddenly feel very old and tired. I guess it's about time I quit trying to be a lawman.
Well, I think you're the best marshal we ever had, Micah.
How many North Fork marshals have you known, Mark?
Well, none except you, but I just know that you're the best.
You know, Mark, I never really knew a bad marshal. Oh, there was times when a weak sister showed up, but all my friends, they were true and good. And all my friends. It's funny how alive they all seem now. How close. All dead, but close. Like I could reach out and touch them. All my friends. Real close. Real close. Must have dozed off here. I think I'll get a breath of fresh air.
Oh, no, you didn't finish telling me about Wyatt Earp.
Huh?
You said that you knew him, then you fell asleep.
Funny, I didn't know I was telling you about Wyatt. Well, let's see, where was I?
Well, the first time you saw him.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing with that gun, Barrett?
Did you get the wire off to the judge all right?
Oh, he had his faults, but he was a brave man. He brought law to some of the most forsaken parts in the territory. Well, I remember when the... He put a badge on him. A North Fork Marshal's badge on Barrett?
Must be a mistake, Micah.
Yeah, a mistake. A mistake, yeah?
I'm not asking your advice on whom I deputize. Barrett's a good man with a gun.
I'm sure he is. There's enough notches on the one he's
I'll
wearing.
run the marshal's office as I see fit.
What are you looking for in this town, Judson? A chance to get your friend Barrett off the hook?
Pa, Micah's getting himself into some trouble.
I'll say it again, Barrett. You aren't fit to wipe a marshal's boots.
You better go back to that bottle, old man. I think you'll find it safer than drinking yourself to sleep.
Micah, your turn will come tomorrow.
You got a big mouth and you do a lot of talking. But you're not wearing a gun, so I guess you feel kind of safe, huh?
Well, I'll face you any day, with or without a gun.
Micah, he's not worth losing your temper over.
You sure it's not the liquor talking?
Liquor talking?
I'm asking if he's throwing a challenge in my face or a bottle of red eye.
You can take it any way you like.
Micah,
because
I wouldn't be much of a man if I backed down from a challenge, would I?
You weren't challenged, Barrett.
Well, Torrance here now, he can back down if he wants to. I could understand that. So could everybody else.
Well, I said goes. There'll be no backing down.
All right. I'll give you a couple hours to sober up. Then anytime you say.
Barrett, we don't allow gunfights in North Fork.
We, Mr. McCain? Now, much as I dislike seeing a gun battle in the street, it's been my experience that gives each man a fair chance.
You mean you're going to allow this gunfight, Judson?
Rather than have these men meet somewhere out of town where one can take advantage of the other, yes.
Judson, I'm just beginning.
Never mind, Lucas. This is my fight. When the first lights go on in town.
I'll be waiting.
Yeah.
You know, Judson, we got something to talk about. If Torrance doesn't die tonight, then I want you to jump in with both feet.
You figure these townspeople are going to just stand by idly while I shoot Torrance down, huh?
I mean, I want you to put enough bullets in him so we can bury him. Because if he's alive tomorrow, then I'm finished. That's why you're going to back me all the way tonight. Don't you forget that.
Go ahead and light it, Nils. It's getting about that time.
Yeah, we can do without light for a while.
All you have to do is walk out there and tell Barrett you don't want to fight. That's all it'd take to stop it.
And after I do, in what town do I hold my head up?
You're not going to have any head if Barrett draws a gun on you. And you're completely ignoring that trick arm of yours.
That's why I have to go out there tonight. This trick arm of mine. You know, maybe this arm isn't as disabled as I and some other folks think. Go ahead and look at me. None of you ever had to wear a badge in a desert hoodlum-filled cow town. None of you ever had to wake up every day wondering what saddle tramp was coming to town, spoiling a match's draw against yours. 30 years wearing a badge. All right, call me a coward if you like, but maybe I needed something to stay alive. To have those trigger-filled boys play their games with somebody else.
Nobody's calling you a coward.
30 years. Nobody can walk a tightrope that long. Nobody. A man needs something. A barrier, a shield. So 25 years ago, when it was hurt, people began to accept my bad arm. Nobody figured to use me to let off steam when they knew I'd be coming out of that office with a shotgun in my hand.
Every marshal has a lawful right to carry a shotgun, and you know it.
That may be true. But tonight I've got to prove something to myself. Whether this arm is as bad as I think it is. I've got to prove that I was using that shotgun to live like a lawman and not to live like a coward.
Micah, everyone knows you're not a coward.
I don't know it, Mark. It's been bothering me for a long time, and at my age, I'd kind of like to know the truth about myself.
Lights are starting to go on.
Give me a match, Nils.
Takes a lot of man to walk away from a challenge.
Have you ever walked away from one, Lucas?
Paul, Mikey can't beat a gunfighter.
I know it, son.
Well, aren't you going to do something?
There's nothing I can do. If I stood alongside him or interfered, I'd only shame him.
Lucas, both those fellas out there wearing guns.
Both?
Johnson and Barrett.
Mr. McCain, you remember my instructions regarding guns?
I see you brought some help, Torrance.
Lucas McCain will not interfere.
You're wearing your gun on your right side. I always heard you favored that arm.
I'm ready for you, Barrett.
Take him out, Judson! Take him out! I warned you. If I'm going downhill, I'm going to take you with me. You want to know who my partner was on that stage holdup? Larry Stan!
Saddle yourself with a fool, you deserve whatever you get.
What makes you think you're any less of a fool? Here, Micah. This belongs to you. I just voted you back into office.
Lucas?
Well, don't you think you better hang up that gun belt and go back to your shotgun?
Oh, no. You saw me beat Barrett to the draw. You know, this bad arm of mine was all in my head. Just a psychological thing, like a doctor would say.
One, you didn't beat Barrett to the draw. Two, you were slower than a banker agreeing to a cash loan. And three, the only thing you did beat him with, old friend, was a barrel full of courage. Something you were born with, something you're gonna die with.
Well, I got to admit my arm has been aching ever since I started yanking this gun. You know, I guess maybe I will go back to my shotgun. And I'll still be able to look people square in the eye.
Good.
Hey, Paul, look at this. I got a real good paragraph for ending my essay with.
Oh, good. Let's hear it.
When people take the right to vote for granted, or when they leave it up to the other fella to see they got good government, they're gonna get what they deserve. Maybe bad government.
Well, it sounds fine, son, except how many times have I told you to say going to and not gonna?
Oh, but Pa, it means the same thing.
Well, I guess you're right. I ain't gonna argue about it.
Ain't? Pa, that's worse than gonna.